All right, folks. Well, it's been a little bit since I've done a video, what, about a week or so? Whatever. Anyway, so as you can probably tell, I sound better, feeling better, and tonight we do have the Critics' Choice Awards, which I'll have a separate video on that later. But tomorrow morning, the 12th of December, we have the nominations for the Golden Globes, and so I will be doing a live video tomorrow where I'll be recording myself as the nominations are announced. So we'll see how well we do tomorrow. But yeah, the Globes. I mean, last year there were a couple big surprises that came up. That not everybody's expecting, like Mad Max Fury Road getting into Best Picture and Best Director. Steve Jobs getting as many nominations as it did. Let's see, what were the other big shockers there? The Big Short doing as well as it did. That wasn't, the huge, in the top five Best Picture contenders yet. So we'll see if we do have any game changers tomorrow. But for the most part, though, I am playing it mostly by what the books are saying so far, with a couple of exceptions here and there that hopefully do pay off. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I did make some quick predictions in a separate video. There have been some changes since then, so this is not going to be a complete repeat. We'll have a couple of differences here and there. Okay, we're just gonna start off at the top with the two best motion picture categories. Of course, you have to remember they're split between drama, and then over here you've got comedy and musical. So we'll do the drama first. I have Manchester by the Sea, Moonlight, Fences, Silence, and Hacksaw Ridge getting in. And the big question here is, we're pretty confident in Fences. We're pretty confident in Moonlight. We're pretty confident in Manchester. Well, two of them have proven to be very big hits with their independent box office so far. Hacksaw Ridge has continued to surprise in domestic gross, at least. I believe it's over 60 million now since it opened at the beginning of November. I've seen it. I think it's definitely in the best films of the year so far that I've seen. But I am way behind though on seeing a lot. It's like Manchester has not played in my local area yet, so I can't see that. Moonlight, I don't know why that one isn't playing yet in my local area. That should have been here months ago, or a little over a month ago at least. I might have to, wait. I would have to. I would hate to say it. I might have to wait until that's illegally streamed or something to see that one. But I really want to. Moonlight. I've just heard just nothing but great word of mouth on. Of course, Fences is not opened yet. It's going into limited release next weekend. So we'll. I'm sure that'll and then it'll go wide. I believe on Christmas Day. That will definitely have some box office draw to it, especially with Denzel and Viola Davis in the lead roles. That will certainly draw some crowds, and plus, the Oscar buzz around it too has helped fuel it as well. And then Silence, of course, only some screenings, mainly in L.A. and New York. Um, the embargo actually was just over. I believe it was yesterday. So far, it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes with like 8 or almost 9 out of 10 is the average rating. So yeah, it's very good word of mouth on that. Um, there have been some people afraid that maybe it's not going to be, included at the Globes here because the screening, because yeah, true, screenings did begin a couple of weeks ago, but they're not sure if it's going to be in the crowd of the Hollywood Foreign Press. But then again, you have to remember they've given Martin Scorsese's Best Director like 2 or 3 times, I think. Because I think he won for The Aviator here, I believe. He won for Gangs of New York. He won for I don't think, did he lose that for The Departed? I think he won, but yeah, he's won a few times here. So his films usually have a good presence here at the Globes. So I'm still counting it in. However, you do have films like Lion, which has a more emotional appeal to it. Another one I haven't seen. That's still only playing, I believe, in less than 10 theaters last I checked. But that's one, yeah, that the emotional appeal. Plus, it's a Harvey Weinstein production, so he's always cramming stuff down voters' throats. Jackie is also a possibility here. Um, with Natalie Portman in the lead, it's again, it's in its limited run here, done spectacular business, and I think still has a potential threat to be a Best Picture nominee. You've got Arrival and Loving in the mix as well here, other than these five that I've mentioned. Arrival, yeah, might be, maybe a little too popcorn for them, but then again, they went with Mad Max Fury Road as one of the best films in the drama race last year. So I still say that's an outside possibility. Loving, I do have getting into the screenplay race and a couple of acting races there. So that might pull it out, but that's one where I have seen that one, and that's a really good one. Loving, I think, is maybe even a little underrated, in my opinion. I really, really enjoyed that movie, and it of course it relies heavily on Joel Edgerton and Ruth Nega's work, and both of them in very understated roles are spectacular. Especially Joel Edgerton, who did pretty good work last year in Black Mass. He's done other good works before, but I think this could be his definitely his first shot at getting a big Oscar nomination, and I think he's very deserving of it too. Again, it's a very quiet, very sustained and very quiet. Again, very quiet performance, and it's not the big bombastic stuff that sometimes get into the Oscars. But that's one hopefully that does push through. And then Sully has been popping up a lot. It just popped up on the AFI list for Best Films of the Year. It's in at the Critics' Choice Awards tonight, so that's one. I thought it premiered too early. Sure, the huge box office. It was the biggest domestic gross of any of the movies that opened in September and October of that fall movie season. Highest grossing film, 125 million and counting domestically. And it's got Tom Hanks, it's got Clint Eastwood, it's got the big bravado behind it. So that wouldn't surprise me if it sneaks in over something like Silence or Hacksaw Ridge tomorrow. But at the same time, Hacksaw Ridge has also been prevailing on a lot of these lists. Unexpectedly in some cases, like AFI list, it got in there. It got in. It'll be. I think it had 6 nominations tonight at Critics' Choice, including Andrew Garfield and Mel Gibson, who I did not expect to get in at Critics' Choice, especially not Gibson. I thought since they do have 6 nominees in acting categories at Broadcast Film Critics, they do usually go with your expected 5 plus 1, or sometimes they'll swap out. But Garfield, I thought maybe they would go in favor of somebody else. If they wanted to bump, say, Jeff Bridges into the lead role or something like that. But I think, across the board he's supporting. So maybe I was just thinking stupid on that. But yeah. So at the same time, speaking of that one, Hell or High Water, again, has been popping up on AFI, Critics' Choice. It got into Best Director of all things at Critics' Choice, as well as 2 supporting actors and screenplay and stuff. So Hell or High Water is really on the rise now, and I do think, that's, again, one of the better films of the year. And unfortunately, I think Chris Pine is kind of getting left out. That's definitely, but hands down, the best performance I've seen him give. And sure, Ben Foster is excellent, and Jeff Bridges is very good, but that's one I think that is getting overlooked there for his individual performance. But yeah, the film, it could still end up here at Golden Globes tomorrow as well. Okay, then we'll move over to the musical comedy race for Best Film. La La Land, if it doesn't get in, I don't know what to say. So I have that one, 20th Century Women, Rules Don't Apply, Florence Foster Jenkins, and The Lobster being the 5 here. This race really, I think, is going to be a little bit easier to predict. There's a little less wiggle room for a couple of other outside films. Like Love and Friendship came out way earlier this year. I didn't get a chance to see it, but it was a pretty big box office hit for the independent film it was. And I actually, of the 5 films that I have here, of course, La La Land just opened in limited release this weekend in New York and LA, and I'm not in either place, so I can't see it yet. But huge per theater average, the best of the year. And it is, last I heard, it's going wide next weekend. So hopefully, it's the same weekend as Rogue One opens. So that's, if I can see those 2 back to back, I'm gonna be pumped to see those 2. 20th Century Women, will be opening in limited release coming up later this month. Rules Don't Apply has just crashed at the box office. That's one. It is playing locally here, so I'll probably see it sometime soon. But yeah, that's one I still want to see, even though it's not getting a huge critical reception or a huge box office reception either. And then Florence Foster Jenkins, I believe, is coming out on DVD and Blu-ray pretty quick here, so that's one I'm definitely going to check out. Let's see. Sing Street has a little bit of buzz to it. Again, that came out way earlier this year. Got a lot of critical support, but that's one I didn't catch. Otherwise, we've got two popcorn movies that did open in February in the mix here as well: Deadpool and Hail Caesar in the mix there. And Deadpool, I can see that one actually getting in. I mean, we had movies like Spy get in last year, and that was we've had movies like The Hangover, which won that year. It was nominated 2009. So they do sometimes go for these big box office hits. So Deadpool wouldn't surprise me if they go over, say, Florence Foster or Rules Don't Apply in favor of Deadpool. That would make sense. And Hail Caesar, I mean, talk about a huge ensemble cast. It's the Coen brothers, Roger Deakins. It's got all the the great formula mix in there to be an Oscar contender and a Golden Globes contender. It's just, when it did open, not a huge box office reception. In fact, it was actually a critical or a box office failure in certain regards. Critics still liked it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a fun time with the movies, but it could still surprise tomorrow. The Nice Guys and Edge of 17 are a couple other big critical hits and not so much box office that I think do have a little bit of staying power, but man, that's going to be like a miracle for those two to get in. But and those are again two of the ones that I have seen that I think are among the best of the year. Okay, we'll move over to the director race now. Let's sorry, I gotta pull up my list here for who I have getting in. Damien Chazelle for not Whiplash, sorry, for La La Land. I do think that that's a given at this point. Martin Scorsese for Silence, Barry Jenkins for Moonlight, Denzel Washington for Fences, and I still have Mel Gibson in there for Hacksaw Ridge, which I'm starting to think, do I really want to leave out Kenneth Lonergan for Manchester by the Sea? Because I have him getting in at Oscars for Best Director. He is nominated tonight at Critics' Choice for directing. And I have Manchester by the Sea, at the moment in good position to win Best Film Drama and Best Screenplay. So they're really going to leave that director out. And just looking at, the Critics' Choice, the different regional awards like LA Film Critics, New York Film Critics, a lot of them are giving Best Director to Barry Jenkins right now. So he is hot right now with in the race. As far as whether or not he's going to make it in. Early on we were saying maybe he's got a decent shot, but now him and Chazelle and Lonergan are looking like the solid three that are going to get in at the Oscars at this point. Scorsese is a likely bet, with Denzel Washington and Mel Gibson being outside shot still, along with people like Pablo Larraín, Denis Villeneuve, I still can't pronounce the guy's name, for Arrival. And Jeff Nichols, I think, also has a little bit of buzz around him for Loving still. So yeah, those are about how many is that? 5, 6, 7, 8. About 8 or 9 directors there that are starting to clear the field a little bit here. But then you have people like David Mackenzie, who got nominated for Hell or High Water at the Critics' Choice. While I don't think it'll right now, I don't have it getting nominated for picture. I don't have it in for director. I don't even have it in for screenplay. I think I just have it in for Jeff Bridges. Last I checked, that's one where if it does really well here tomorrow, that's one where I might start to consider that one more in these top categories. So yeah, I mean definitely Kenneth Lonergan still has a very good shot of getting nominated here tomorrow. But then when you have people like Denzel Washington. Who directing Fences, who's got the charisma, who's got the star power to him. That's I can easily see them saying, well, we're already going to give Kenneth Lonergan Best Screenplay for Manchester by the Sea if that does happen to come true. He's going to get nominated there. His film's getting in. His film's got 3 acting races. We're going to give it. I don't know if it's in those rest of the categories like original score and best song score and all that. I don't think those are going to go for Manchester. More like La La Land, if you ask me. But it's going to have a lot of support tomorrow at the Golden Globes, anyways. So that's one where I can see him. If they're splitting votes and it comes down to we got to leave. Because I think these 6 are definitely in the running, and if they, I believe there is that potential where they can land it at 6, because the Globes can do that. They did it, I think the last time they did it was, for film anyways, was 2012 when they had 6 supporting actors. Because Leo and Christoph Waltz both made it in for Django Unchained, along with the other usual suspects there, like Philip Seymour Hoffman for The Master, and Robert De Niro for Silver Linings, Tommy Lee Jones for Lincoln, and who am I missing there? Alan Arkin for Argo. Yeah, so I mean, that is, I would say it's actually more likely for between these five. If any one of them is going to miss, I'm going to say it's probably easily going to be Gibson. But at the same time, his nomination at the Critics' Choice really helped him, and I'm starting to consider him more as a potential nominee for Best Director at the Oscars as well. Right now, I have at the Oscars, I have Scorsese, I have Chazelle, I have Jenkins, I have Lonergan, and I have Pablo Larraín in there right now for Jackie. Because they do usually there's a kooky nominee in there for Best Director, like last year when it was I always hate to say it, but it's the guy who directed Room, Lenny Abrahamson, who I had in there until the last minute. I pulled him out in favor of Adam McKay, who did get in, but it was Ridley Scott who ended up missing last year. So yeah, usually there's a director in there who we think, oh yeah, they're easily they're easily going to get nominated. Like a couple, we can look back to 2012 again with Ben Affleck and Catherine Bigelow. We thought those two were solid, and Spielberg is solid, and Ang Lee is solid. Who's that fifth slot? Turns out two of those four that were solid are gone in favor of people like Ben Zeitlin for Beasts of the Southern Wild, and Mikhail Haneke for Amour, and David O. Russell for Silver Lining. So I think was right below that list, and so yeah. Yeah, the director race is starting to heat up more. So yeah, these are my five again. They're Damien Chazelle for La La Land, Martin Scorsese, Silence, Jenkins for Moonlight, Denzel for Fences, and Mel Gibson for Hacksaw Ridge. So yeah, this is one that I'm gonna hold on to my hat to see who gets in and who doesn't for that one. Okay, we'll move on to the acting races now. Let's start with the drama races for Best Actor Drama. I do have Denzel out front for Fences, then Casey Affleck, Manchester by the Sea. I have Tom Hanks getting in for Sully, Joel Edgerton for Loving, and Andrew Garfield for Hacksaw Ridge. Yeah, I think these five are pretty solid. Pretty solid. They could go with somebody like, they do go with Jake Gyllenhaal every once in a while. I mean, he got in for Nightcrawler a couple years ago. That started that train. Sadly, it didn't have enough momentum to get to the Oscars, even though I did think he did give definitely one of the best five performances that year for the leading male category. Andrew Garfield is also the lead in Silence. He's got still some good word of mouth on him from that film. So that's been since it was revealed that he was going to go lead for Silence instead of supporting, which I think there was a quick argument there, but they decided, yep, we're going to go push all of our buzz for supporting actor on Liam Neeson for Silence and leave Andrew Garfield in lead. So yeah, but I like I said, I haven't seen Silence yet, so that's kind of hard to judge. But man, he was very, very good in Hacksaw Ridge. Very good. Definitely one of his best performances for sure that I've seen him in. And I have seen Sully, and I have seen Loving, so I've seen the three of these five. I haven't seen Affleck in Manchester by the Sea, but I've heard he's got again a very quiet, restrained role, but still very, very impressive. And I'm sure he's going to get in at the Oscars. And Denzel, I think he's been a lock since they scheduled Fences for the Christmas release. So yeah, Gyllenhaal, and if maybe they'll swap out Garfield for Silence instead of Hacksaw, that's a possibility. And Silence does have a little more credibility to it, if it because it'll have director and picture, at least from what I have predicted, and yeah, so they might favor Silence over Hacksaw in that case. And then a quick switch, we had Viggo Mortensen was previously in the comedy category for his movie Captain Fantastic, which another one I haven't seen. But they evidently, there was a quick rule change. Now he's in the drama race now. I thought he had a decent shot. I didn't have him nominated yet, or predicted to be nominated for lead actor comedy, but I thought he had a very decent shot at getting in. Now he is swamped, I think. I don't think he's going to get in now. For the leading ladies for drama, I think this has got to belong to Natalie Portman for her performance in Jackie. And then I do have Amy Adams in for Arrival. I do have Ruth Negga in for Loving. Emily Blunt I still have in for Girl on the Train. And Jessica Chastain I still have in for Miss Sloane, even though that did terrible at the box office this weekend. That's one. That one is again playing locally, so I have. I'll probably see that one soon. Girl on the Train I have seen, and Arrival I have seen, and Loving I have seen. So again, that's 3 out of the 5. And I think I mentioned it last time, but yeah, Emily Blunt, her last few performances in films like Sicario, Edge of Tomorrow, what was the one she did? Into the Woods and Looper and all those. All those performances, sure, they're good, and I mean she's one of the most sought after stars anymore. Um, but in those roles, I'm always like, oh, that's Emily Blunt on screen. This was the first one, and I didn't really enjoy Girl on the Train as a movie that much, but that was the first role I saw her take where I'm like, that's not Emily Blunt on screen. That's her character, and that her character's name was Rachel in the movie. I'm like, that's Rachel. That's not Emily Blunt. She was really, really going out there on a different train, if you will, of her from her previous performances, where it's just that's Emily Blunt, But this was the first one. I'm like, that's the character. That's not Emily Blunt in the role. So and they do really, really love Emily at the Golden Globes here. Surprised actually, she didn't make it in for Sicario last year. I don't think I had her nominated to get in, but I don't know. And they do like Amy Adams. They do like Jessica Chastain. So I think those three are pretty solid. I would say Ruth is actually the weakest link here. And Isabelle Huppert has been on a rampage lately with her almost all of those big critics awards with L.A. and New York both giving her Best Actress. And we have people like Charlotte Rampling in a 45 Years from last year. I did finally catch up and see that one. She was pretty good in that. And that movie surprised me. It's more than just this quiet little, oh, it's just this couple after 45 years reflecting on their marriage. No, there's some actual twists and turns in that movie. That was genuinely entertaining for me, even though it was a small little independent British production and had almost no box office reception over here in the States. She and Tom Courtenay was her co-star in that. Pretty good movie. Pretty good. I would say that's one I can recommend if you're looking for a quieter, solely relying on acting movie, kind of like Loving, or something like that this year. See 45 Years. That's one you can catch back and enjoy. Yeah, so but then you have Emmanuel Riva for Amour and Marion Cotillard for 2 Days, One Night. So lately they have been going with those foreign actresses or foreign movies with an actress who's not American, who's not usually in the big Hollywood made films that have a lot of buzz to them getting in. So that's why I have her in at the Oscars over actresses like Amy Adams and Jessica Chastain and Emily Blunt. But at the same time, Emmanuel Riva did not get in at the Globes. Marion Cotillard, not in at the Globes. Last year, Charlotte Rampling did not make it into the Golden Globes. They really like their Hollywood actresses here. So I can understand if she does get in, that'll be a surprise for me. And I'm sure I've heard nothing but great reviews on her performance and on the film itself. So that's one for Elle, I should say. That's the name of the film. That's one that if it does get in, I'm going to be a little shocked, but at the same time, it will give us a better understanding of how the Best Actress race is going. And then Taraji P. Henson for Hidden Figures is also somebody who's lately been getting a little more traction. The film has been screened a little more. I believe the review embargo is down for that one as well. And again, really great reviews on that one. And so yeah, I think there is a possibility for her to get nominated. However, when you look at the competition here, a few better known names come into play here with Emily Blunt, Jessica Chastain, Amy Adams might hurt her. Taraji also, she's got Empire, so she's got a recognizable factor on TV. That might help her actually, because I can't remember if I'd say I don't do I do predictions on Gold Derby at least for the TV races for the Globes, but I don't follow that as well. So I don't know if she's a lock to get in there for Empire for this year, but she won last year, I believe. So we'll see if she becomes a double nominee tomorrow. And then Amy Adams actually potentially could knock herself out in favor of Nocturnal Animals. And I've heard she's terrific in both. In Nocturnal, I have seen Arrival, so. And yeah, she was very good in Arrival. The movie I think is a little overrated, but that's just me. But yeah. But otherwise, I think she is in good position though to get nominated for sure for one of the two tomorrow. Okay, moving on to the acting races for lead for comedy or musical. I have Ryan Gosling. I think he's for sure going to win this for La La Land. I have Colin Farrell in second for The Lobster. Ryan Reynolds in third for Deadpool. Warren Beatty, I do have getting in for Rules Don't Apply. And then Don Cheadle for Miles Ahead in fifth place. Again, this is a race, if Vigo was still in this race, I would say there's a decent shot he's getting nominated. But then you got Hugh Grant is going lead for Florence Foster Jenkins. I believe he's going supporting everywhere else, or maybe they've changed it. I don't know. Last I heard, he was supporting, but yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I have heard that's one of his better performances in years in that one. I haven't seen it, so I can't tell. Then you got people like Robert De Niro in The Comedian, which got awful reviews. That's a movie that, maybe a month ago people said, oh yeah, he's got a decent shot of winning this award for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical. That buzz has gone completely soft. I don't think he's got a shot now. But then again, look at like last year with Al Pacino and Danny Collins, which is a movie that came out way early. Nobody saw. A few critics liked it, but that was about it. Still got him nominated here. So that's, I'm not going to totally discount him, but I'm going to say, a month ago it looked like he was going to be one of the five. Now it looks like he'll be a really surprise nomination here. Then you got Russell Crowe for The Nice Guys, since Ryan Gosling is going to get nominated for La La Land. Even though I thought far and above the better performance of the two between him and Crowe in the movie The Nice Guys was Ryan Gosling, and if La La Land had come out in a different year, I think there's a decent shot that Gosling actually would win this award for The Nice Guys. Still, I think Russell Crowe, he's still good. That's one of his better performances in a while in The Nice Guys. So while I don't think it's going to have the buzz to it that it needs to get him into one of the five slots, and these five I think are looking much better, that could still happen. And if it does, then, good for him. But not looking very likely, at least at the moment here. Okay, then moving on to the leading ladies for Comedy Musical. I do have Emma Stone out front for La La Land, followed by Annette Bening in 20th Century Women. I think that's going to be a closer battle by the time we get to the award show than a lot of people are thinking. A lot of people are just putting Emma Stone, Emma Stone, Emma Stone. Then again, I have La La Land winning director. I have it winning Best Film Comedy. I have it winning Best Actor Comedy. It's probably going to win that original song and the original score category. Are they really going to give it 6 out of its 7 nominations? The screenplay is probably the only one I think that it's going to have a shot of losing. I don't know. I think Annette Bening will make a run for it. Plus, if we're right, if I'm right, it's going to get in for Best Film Comedy Musical, 20th Century Women. I do have it getting in now for Greta Gerwig for Supporting Actress, not to spoil that, but I do. And I think it has still a decent shot of getting into that screenplay category. I mean, they've done weirder things before in that category, so I don't know. I think there's a possibility Annette Bening still wins this. Meryl Streep, I do have in third for Florence Foster Jenkins. Sally Field for Hello, My Name is Doris. Still have Haley Steinfeld in for Edge of 17. Yeah, I think still there's a couple other possibilities here for nominee, especially the big threat, I think, is Kate Beckinsale for Love and Friendship. From what I've heard, it's the best performance of her career. Easily, she was the reason why the movie was so good, I've heard from a few critics. So she could still end up nominated over somebody like Sally Field or Haley Steinfeld. Swap in one of those two. And then Renee Zellweger for the Bridget Jones movie that she did this year. It didn't do great box office, at least over here in the States. Otherwise, in international markets, it still did pretty well. And critics were pretty fair to it. So it's a possibility, but I don't know. Like a month ago, I did have her in to get nominated, but since then, I haven't heard too much buzz. And then you got you can never discount Woody Allen at the Globes, even though Irrational Man, which I did see last year, which I thought was actually a good movie, didn't get any nominations. Still they do like Woody, so he's got one Cafe Society this year. So Kristen Stewart and Jesse Eisenberg are the leads in those. I think those two. Stewart has a little better shot, but Jesse Eisenberg also could surprise us with Best Actor, Comedy, or Musical. But yeah, for right now, I'm going to go with those 5 for the lead categories there. All right, let's move on to Supporting Actor. Of course, you have to remember at the Globes, this is Supporting Actor in any film. It doesn't matter if it's comedy or musical. I have Jeff Bridges actually in first position here over Mahershala Ali for Moonlight, who does, I think, have frontrunner status for best supporting actor at the Oscars, as well as stuff like SAGs and Critics' Choice tonight, probably. Um, I think just they do like to go with their big movie stars here. Um, sure, every once in a while, right? They'll have. I think I mentioned last time, like Jared Leto winning here, Christoph Waltz winning over somebody like Leo for supporting actor for Django. So every once in a while, right? If there's a strong, heavy front runner for supporting actor who's not, a huge, well named best actor, well named actor. I mean, not best actor, a well named actor. Then sometimes they'll go for him, but. At this rate, Mahershala Ali, he's got buzz to him, but I don't see him as the solid front runner for this category. Bridges could make a run for him. Lucas Hedges could make a run for him. Neeson could make a run for him, or Michael Shannon could for Nocturnal Animals. And Shannon, I don't even have getting in tomorrow. I do have Dev Patel instead, but I do have the other two, Hedges and Neeson, also getting nominated here tomorrow. Yeah, Dev Patel in Lion. I've heard, from the movie at least that he, yeah, again, he is supporting. Earlier he was going lead, but but yeah, evidently I've heard it's a good performance, not a necessarily a great one. Liam Neeson, I've heard the same thing about Silence, even though they did put all their money on him at Paramount there. But yeah, Lucas Hedges and Mahershala Ali and Jeff Bridges, I think, are the three locks at this rate. Shannon, yeah, Michael Shannon, I think, does have an outside shot. They could go with Ben Foster for Hell or High Water in there as well. And see, after that, it gets so sporadic. I mean, after that, yeah, there are a lot of other possibilities of just genuine, complete shot in the dark chances, like Timothy Spall in Denial, or Alan Rickman for Eye in the Sky, which I did recently see that one. He's got a great closing line in that movie. Otherwise, he's just sitting in the chair the whole time. I mean, he has a great closing line where he says, "Never tell a soldier that he doesn't know the cost of war." Great line for him to go out on and for his on-screen performances. Otherwise, he's it's pretty standard role, so that's not going to get him anything. But there is one like Aaron Eckhart in Sully, where I think he did just as good a job in the movie as Tom Hanks did, and he's getting no attention. That's one where if Hanks is going to get in, Aaron Eckhart should be at his side there, getting nominated for supporting at that rate. If we're going by by that. But I do think these five though I are the ones I'm going to go with. Again, there's Jeff Bridges, Hell or High Water, Mahershala Ali for Moonlight, Lucas Hedges, Manchester by the Sea, Liam Neeson for Silence, and Dev Patel for Lion. Supporting actress is another case, however. We do have a little bit more competition here. I do have Viola Davis out front for Fences. She's got the Oscar at this point. She is probably the only person that we can confidently say at this point is going to be the winner. Because just from what I've heard for Michelle Williams from Manchester by the Sea, she doesn't have the screen time. She just has maybe one or two scenes that she comes in and actually, gives those heavy Oscar-winning moments, but it's only 2 moments, whereas Viola, I'm sure, has 60. Tons of them. Then Naomi Harris, I do have getting in for Moonlight. She was terrific in oh crap. The one with Idris Elba from a few years ago, the Mandela movie, Long Walk to Freedom, where he got all the buzz for that movie. He didn't end up getting nominated; just the song got nominated at the Oscars. But that was one where I was like, yeah, he's great. But Naomi Harris is phenomenal in that. She really got overshadowed. Hopefully, yeah, this is her first nomination because I do think she is a very talented actress. Nicole Kidman, I do have getting in for Lion, and Greta Gerwig for 20th Century Women. What do you know? I haven't seen any of these five, so yeah, these are I can't say confidently. I can't say I've seen their performance, and it's this is just off of word of mouth. A lot of this is. And then for the backups, Felicity Jones has the best buzz going for her right now for A Monster Calls. The best buzz for any category that film has going now is Felicity Jones. I know when it did premiere at Toronto, a lot of people said, oh, it could get in for picture, it could get in for writing, it could get in for visual effects even. But right now, it's looking like Felicity Jones is its best shot right now. Janelle Monáe, I believe is how you pronounce her name, from Hidden Figures. She did get in at Critics' Choice. So she could start a bandwagon now if she gets nominated tomorrow. and maybe she's going to fill in that fifth slot because I think at this rate, just at this rate, Nicole Kidman got in at Critics' Choice. Naomi Harris was in at Critics' Choice. Michelle Williams was in at Critics' Choice, and Viola got in at Critics' Choice. Crap, did Greta get in? I gotta check here. Skip to this year. Supporting actress. Yeah, she did get in. Okay, yeah. So it was those five, and with Janelle in there also for Hidden Figures. Those are the six that were nominated there. And I think, yeah, between those seven, including Felicity Jones, are probably looking like the seven it's going to come down to, unless we have somebody like Elle Fanning for 20th Century Women, or Molly Shannon for Other People, which was a very small movie, opened. Not a lot of people saw it. I didn't see it, but people said that's the performance of her career. And you have to remember, people like Sarah Silverman did get in at SAG last year for her movie, which I can't remember the name of it now. I never did see it. But yeah, so every once in a while they'll go with a usually comedic actress who gives a good dramatic turn. So that's a possibility, I think. But probably not going to happen here at the Globes. More likely that's going to happen at something like Screen Actors Guild, or I think that's about it actually. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so that leaves the last category that I have solid predictions for tomorrow is screenplay. And this, again, Manchester by the Sea, La La Land, Moonlight, Fences, and Loving are the five I'm going to go with. And I think after that, it's going to be a kind of tough to get anybody else in there, with the exception of maybe Hell or High Water and Nocturnal Animals being the other two that have solid possibilities. Silence, I haven't heard that that's going to be a real threat for adapted screenplay. That's going to be in the adapted category. Lion, I think, will, however, get in for adapted screenplay at the Oscars. But since they do combine, again, a combination here of original screenplays and adapted, it doesn't matter. All screenplays are thrown in here at the Globes. I think they're going to go in favor of mostly original screenplays. In fact, Loving Loving, is going to be in the original category too. Fences is the only adapted screenplay I have getting in tomorrow, which is usually about the way it turns out. Usually there's one or two adapted screenplays or two screenplays that'll end up in adapted at the Oscars and at other award shows that get in. But right now we've got four originals, and between the two of them, I think Lion has the better shot of stepping over something like Loving, or even I think as far as how vulnerable it is, I think Loving and Moonlight are the two most vulnerable. Actually, no, I'm going to go Loving and La La Land are the two most vulnerable there. So Lion could step over either one of those, or Nocturnal Animals maybe has a shot there. So I think those are the ones we have solid predictions for. The original score category is usually all mixed up because you'll have scores like The Revenant, which got nominated last year, which was not qualifying at the Oscars since it has multiple composers or something. I can't remember what the rule is there, but anyways, whatever it is, because I think, wasn't it not too long ago they actually had a film win original screenplay at the Oscars, which had more than one composer to it? I don't know. Maybe that was the rule, or it wasn't substantially original, or something. I don't know. There's some weird bylaws that come into play every once in a while at the Oscars that kick it out. So you'll have stuff getting into the Globes that won't be eligible for Oscars. But if I just had to guess, La La Land is going to be on that list for original score. Probably. Let me just look at what got in at Critics' Choice. Maybe that'll help. They do have an original score category, don't they? Yeah. Oh, Arrival. Arrival will get in for sure. Johan Johansson, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's just gotten in everywhere the last couple of years for his films, like not Arrival, for Sicario and Theory of Everything. Which Theory of Everything was a really, really good score, though. One of the best parts of that movie, actually. And yeah, Sicario, I don't know, and I don't understand why he got nominated for that. All it was just these guttural Hans Zimmer rejected sounds. I don't know how that got in for original score. That was ridiculous. Jackie, I've heard, has some has a good shot at getting. I do have it getting in at the Oscars. But then you have stuff like Moonlight getting in for original score at Critics' Choice. That could be one that makes it in. See, Lion got in for original score, but that has, I'm looking right here, has two composers. So that's one that might not get in at the Oscars, but could. I think that one actually. I'm going to say that one. Yeah, gets in at the Globes tomorrow. Otherwise, Silence I think has a possibility of getting in for best original score. Um, what else do I want to say? I really, for one, really like the music in Hacksaw Ridge. I think that has a shot. Star Wars Rogue One did not screen in time for Critics' Choice, but I'm sure they're going to put Michael Giacchino in there for original score. Because I mean, just listening to they put out a featurette recently where they looked at the score, and just listening to the little bit that they released, I'm like, damn, that's Star Wars. And usually, yeah, like John Williams, even though he didn't get in at the Globes last year, did get nominated just about everywhere else. Oh, what else? What else am I forgetting here that has a shot? I think I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, and then the original song category, again, they could go any which way. Let's see, two of the songs got in for La La Land um, at the Critics' Choice here. Moana has a couple of songs in there. One from Dwayne the Rock Johnson, another one, How Far I'll Go, which I believe is the. I haven't seen Moana, so I'm not for sure. I might be wrong about this, but I think that's gonna be like the Let It Go, or the main song that gets all the airplay. Rules Don't Apply did get in for best song, so that's a possibility for original song there as well. Sing Street got in as well at Critics' Choice, so maybe that could get a little attention at the Globes there. I'm trying to think. Zootopia, and then animated features, another category there. Zootopia, I'm sure will get in at for that category. What's the song? Try Everything. The whatever the singer's name is. I don't know if that's going to count as original song or not. That has a possibility. Yeah, and then with that animated feature category, yeah, it's got to be Zootopia, Finding Dory, Cubo and the Two Strings, Moana are solid locks, I think, at this rate. Then you have stuff like Sing or The Red Turtle, which is a foreign film, or what's the other one that people like that's foreign animated that I haven't seen? Um, yeah, and then there's a couple other ones in there. But usually at the Globes, they do go with mostly, the big American domestic hits instead of the foreign films and other likely Oscar nominees that are from Japan or from all those other European countries and stuff that usually make it in at the Oscars. Anyway, so yeah, so there's your predictions for tomorrow for the Globes. Yeah, I'm thinking there's got to be a few surprises in here as well. I tried to maybe pick out a couple of them, but you never know for sure. Yeah, I'd say the biggest risks I'm going with tomorrow are Haley Steinfeld for lead actress in a comedy. The film is doing not great at the box office. Critics really like it, so hopefully that has enough buzz to it. Plus, but there is some competition there in that category, so she might get knocked out. Gibson for director is a big risk. I mean, number one, just there's still a little bit of controversy still brewing around him for all the stuff that he did close to a decade ago. Which for me personally, that didn't affect me as much as it has other people. But and I think I gave this whole speech last time, but it's like he's a talented director, a very talented actor as well. Look back to like Braveheart, the first Lethal Weapon. He has some great dramatic moments there, and he shines. As an actor too. I mean, there's a reason he became a huge box office draw in the late '80s, early '90s. Plus all the Mad Max films and all that. So, um, I'm he's talented, and it's a sin to have talent underutilized. And unfortunately, right, his own actions brought onto him, him not getting as many roles as he did in the last 5-6 years for on screen. But then, yeah, behind the camera, yeah, he's been, every once in a while he'll have something. So, but yeah, talent that's not used, that's underutilized, is a sin. So hopefully those sins are absolved because Hacksaw Ridge is one of the best films of the year, and just about everybody else is picking it on their list so far. And speaking of that, Hacksaw Ridge is still, there's a lot of other possibilities to get that fourth or potentially fifth slot for Best Picture Drama tomorrow. So that's one that could go south as well on me. Um, yeah, I think those are the big risks that I'm taking tomorrow. Those are the big three that I'm worried about. I think just about everything else, what I've picked sounds solid to me. And I did, name a couple of other potentials that could steal some slots there. So, yeah, hopefully there's nothing so out of left field tomorrow that I'm just left speechless. But you never know. It's the Globes. They go any which way they want to, and sometimes nobody can predict them. So yeah, yeah. Since this did turn out to be a longer video, I'm gonna upload this later. I will be back later today, or you've probably maybe already seen it. But Critics' Choice, I will do a brief predictions video before the show, and I'll just do something after the show because it's gonna go on for a while. I don't want to do the whole live reaction thing because I don't really, I'm just gonna go play it by ear because we've had. That's how pissed I am at Critics' Choice this year. Nope, it doesn't have anything to do with them not picking anything for Rogue One or Silence or a couple of the other movies that didn't screen in time for them. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's with their schedule. What the hell are they doing having their award show on December 11th? What the hell are they doing have their nominations come out on December 2nd? This is insane. What the hell are they doing? I mean, other than Alicia Vikander last year, their award show didn't change anything in the Oscar race. With a big exception of Alicia Vikander, who started her big awards run with her win there for the Danish Girl. Otherwise, you had Spotlight win, which sure ended up winning Best Picture, even though a lot of us were scrambling to figure out what was going to happen there. I didn't catch the train, of course. I had to go off the cliff with everybody else with Leo on The Revenant. But George Miller won there. He didn't win at the Oscars. We already knew Leo was going to win. We already knew Brie Larson. We had a good idea about Sylvester Stallone, even though that didn't turn out. But they got that one wrong anyways. So I don't know what the hell they're doing here. They don't really factor that much as far as changing the award season. Not really. Not really. And plus, when you look at it here, a lot of the fun and a lot of the debates that happen with these other award shows, including Golden Globes, including Oscars, including Screen Actors Guild, including the BAFTAs and the Guild Awards, is they give it like a good 3 or, in this case, the Globes, it's about 3 weeks or so. They give it a little bit of time for some campaigns to happen, for the studio to have a say, for the studio to say, hey, let me recommend this movie to you. Instead of the Critics' Choice saying, oh, you've seen everything, just pick a winner too while you're at it. That is not fair I don't think that's very fair on the voters. The people who vote for this thing. I know it's a body of like 300-something critics who, have already seen everything at that point, so sure, they probably have a good idea of what they're going to vote for in the end. But still, that's not allowing them any time to think. It's less than 10 days. That's not fair. Plus, it's less than 10 days to the award show. I'm not sure when the deadline was for their votes, but I'm sure it was earlier, probably Tuesday or Wednesday of this previous week. So that gives them, let's see, let me look at the calendar here. Yes, they were announced on the 2nd. Their ballots were, probably due on the 6th or the 7th. That gives them 3 days to vote if they just want to vote, or whatever. Sure, and again, when they're picking the nominees, they maybe have a few inklings of what they're going to vote for in the end. But still, that's not giving them any time to vote. I don't think that's any fair to them. I think you should have some time. Pick out who you want to get in. Then say, okay, let me judge these 5, or in this case 6, for a lot of those categories. These 6 performances, these 6 directors, these 6 pictures. Well, it's actually 10 and 7 at the director's race there. Or these 6 screenplays, or whatever. And we're not even going to talk about best actor in a comedy and best actor in an action movie. Those don't bullshit with those. I don't care. That doesn't give them hardly any time if they want to go back and watch each of those performances. Because here's the other thing: they didn't screen everything. They've got to go see Rogue One and Silence and all Collateral Beauty and whatever else didn't screen. A lot of these critics are working critics. They're not just people sitting on their ass all day, waiting for screeners to come in. No, they are working people. They have families. They have stuff that fill up their personal time. They don't have time to to go back and say, oh yeah, I've got 3 days to watch 20 movies again. They don't have that time. They don't have that time. Plus, they maybe don't have all the screeners. Maybe they only got screeners for a certain amount of movies and had to go see the rest of them in order to vote for them, to get nominated even. So I don't think it's fair to the voting body. And then plus, yeah, it's not fair to the studios because they don't have any time to throw any campaigns to them or walk and talk anybody up. It doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, it's kind of my don't want to say my protesting here, but I just think it's a stupid idea. I hope they don't do it again. Yeah, hopefully, yeah, this is a one-time deal, or maybe they'll do it again next year, and then after that, come to their senses. But yeah, I just don't like this idea of hey, let's throw out the nominees on the second and hand the awards out less than 2 weeks later, because that doesn't give us any time to decide. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm not going to do a live reactions. Plus, they're not going to have. Last I remember, last one I was able to see of these award shows, because yeah, usually it's on A&E or a channel that sometimes I don't always have access to. I will be able to watch them tonight, but usually they don't present every category. Sometimes they'll have to say, oh, during the break, here's the winner for this category, and it's like, oh, well, that's a great thing, because yeah, as you've seen in my previous videos, if you've been around a while, I like to, when I do live reactions to the award shows, it's, I want to have the audio be heard first for who won, not have to have me in front of you say, oh, here, look at the screen, I'm seeing this one for this category. No, that's, that's part of the fun for me in editing those videos is timing it up so that you can hear the person saying the winner instead of me saying, oh, look who won. That's not fun. Not as fun for me as having the actual presenter be heard on the video and seeing my actual reaction to hearing it instead of seeing it, because seeing it and hearing it for me are two different things. There's a bit of delay, which makes it fun. I think I love watching other people do this too. So yeah, I think that's about all I've got to say. So yeah, before the award show begins, I'll give a quick rundown and size up the competition for who could potentially win. But then again, we don't have any real influences, nothing to back us up here. So yeah, that'll be that. And then after that, I'll probably just do a wrap up and say, okay, well, this person won. Was that expected? Was that unexpected? It does this, obviously this is not going to affect the Golden Globes because the nominations are going to be announced in less than 12 hours for after the award show is over anyways. So that's not going to impact them at all. But still, it'll be something to talk about at least. So yeah. I'll edit this together and throw this up, but it'll probably be after that other video. So if this does happen to go up at the same time that the right before the Globe actual nominations are announced, then so be it. But just wanted to throw out my final Golden Globes predictions, and we'll see you guys later tonight when it's time for Critics' Choice. First award show of the season, so that it'll have that going for it at least, even if I do think their voting this year was genuinely stupid.